Hello, Vishal this side. Now we're going to cover the entire case study where you will see like how Groove actually used this framework and they were able to reduce the churn by 71%. All right. So this is what you're going to see next. Okay. So a little bit about Groove. It's very good application, a SaaS application to help you with your customer support tickets and everything. And the group's problem was like, again, they were getting a steady stream of new users, but the churn rate meant unsustainable growth. So, less insight into why customers are leaving. So, what they did was they undertook a research and they took an analytical approach to solve the onboarding and retention. So, uh, what they started off with was the churn versus retain analysis. All right. And they came up with a term called red flag metrics. So, red flag metrics is anything that you think it should be higher, but it's not. For example, you all feel red flag matrix is our bank account, it should be higher, but it's not. So, and that is always similarly, you have a red flag metrics, and you would see how it would take effect. All right. So with that, the red flag metrics for Groove were the total number of logins and the session length and time spent on the task. So what they identified when they did the churn versus retain analysis, what they identified, the left one are the retained users, 318 minutes, 4.4 times a day, average user 30 days. All right. And on the right side are the behavior of churn users. So if you see over here on the left side, the first session of a retained user was pretty high. It was 3 minutes and 18 seconds, while it was only 35 seconds for the the churned user. What does it tell you? It tells you the person did not identify how to use the application. It does not tell you that the user don't like they have no interest. It does not say like they don't have uh, they will not share those problems onto your customer support. All right. But this is a metric that tells, hey, they logged it on the system, but somehow they were not able to identify what to do next. All right. And you would see like that is why the churn is happening because person was not able to relate and identify what to do next. And then the long term, we all have done that. So this was the insight for them. And 4.4 times a day, 0.3 times per day. So how much is the time spent on the session and what were the number of logins. So if you again see they're logged in like multiple times and they're logging only like once or zero point 0.3 per day, like only once in 3 days. So these are the red flag metrics that occurred for Groove uh, once they identified this thing, once they did the churn versus retain analysis. And now you would see how did they did the execution of nudge mechanism that we talked about. All right. So email, email for sessions less than 2 minutes. So anyone who had a session less than 2 minutes, they sent out an email. I have included all these emails as part of the case study resources, and you would be able to have a look at them and create something of your own. But the good part to learn from here is like how they've created a different nudge for different kind of insights. For example, emails, sessions less than 2 minutes, login less than 2 times in 10 days, login long time to complete a task. For example, if someone takes a long time to complete a certain task, for example, adding a ticket or it may be creating a Zoom call, if they're taking a long time to complete that task, they turned it as a red flag metrics. All right, and but they went one step ahead. All right, they said this is for the person who's going to get churned. Okay, this is ideally for the person who's going to get churned. But what about the person who is going to get reading? For example, there were people who were uh, spending good amount of time. So what about them? So they are getting some value. So they are the most engaged. What they did was they sent out an email to these kind of people and said, "Hey, can you refer us?" So it was very smart of them to do that. So this is this is how they set up this nudge mechanism. I've also given like what kind of uh, results that they got, and then once you see over here, uh, with that, let's move on to next part. Like this is the result that they received and how they used analytics to drive everything. So they were like very particularly smart, talked about like how to go about the basing on different red flag metrics, how to go about and create those marketing automation emails and and uh, and reduce the churn. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. But sorry for that. Take care. So with that, I'm going to move on to the next section of the best practices of like how to do that, and see you in the next section.